Ladies and gents, welcome back. The tide is changing. The pendulum is swinging. There are a number of analogies you can use to describe this, but it seems that the liberators of a bygone era are now the oppressors of the contemporary era. And it would seem that our liberal lefties in positions of power have quickly become the personification of the John Lithgow character from Footloose, trying to ban rock and roll and dancing because it's the devil's work or what have you. But it seems that now it is rock and roll to ditch the rainbow because, well, it is being forced on these kids everywhere and they're just not having it. They're just not into it, and well, they just want to be left alone. And well, the parents are happy to jump on the side of their kids and say leave them alone as well. This is a kind of scene that we're seeing in kindergartens around Canada, saying, hey, the whole point here is how can I make a pride flag in kindergarten? Why is this something that we're bringing forward to these children? And a lot of children are lashing out. And this is a news story from the United States, but it illustrates the point that it's happening across Canada right now as well.
Displays of intolerance and homophobia are unacceptable.
This type of intolerant rhetoric starts in the home.
Parents angry at town hall over intolerance at Marshall Simons Middle School. Kids were asked to wear rainbow clothes in honor of Pride Spirit Day, but some organized a counter-protest wearing red, white, and blue or black. The principal sharing a statement to families that Pride posters were ripped down, stickers ripped up. Some students chanted "USA are my pronouns," and students showing Pride were intimidated.
It was an unruly disruption, in fact, that was organized ahead of time.
While some parents were upset, others say it was overblown.
Some of the kids threw the stickers on the ground, but you know, I can only speak for my daughter. She didn't want to wear that to school. It's not that she wanted to hurt anybody's feelings.
She says her daughter felt coerced to participate in the Pride event and was offended by some of the messages, like this quote from Tennessee Williams.
Human heart cannot be straight. It is curves and winds. And my daughter just kind of said, you know, Mom, that's offensive to me, who I am straight.
So a lot of parents and a lot of students are just rejecting this whole thing and saying, hey, just let us be us. Is that okay that we can just be us? Well, I thought that was a liberal left ideal, but it turns out that it isn't. Even Justin Trudeau jumping up in Parliament, railing against parents at this point, saying Justin Trudeau dismisses parental rights as far right. It is now far right to have parental rights over your children and not have the teachers in schools who are not the parents and are not related to you have a say in the raising of your children. Prime Minister targets New Brunswick Premier over policy of informing parents about their child changing genders. And this is, I wish I was making this up. You can't make this up, folks. Parental rights are now far-right political issue, according to Justin Trudeau. It may be that the Prime Minister didn't mean to disparage millions of parents by lumping them in with far-right radicals like white supremacists and fascists, but he did. So speaks to his tendency to shoot from the lip. Now, when have we ever seen that where he just kind of lumps everybody into some sort of group of terrible people? I don't know.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views.
Of course, unacceptable views. This sounds very similar, right? People are holding unacceptable views because they disagree with your policy. Again, this is from back in 2022 when the Freedom Convoy was on its way to Ottawa. He was already painting them in a bad light and not realizing that it was a diverse group of people that just disagreed with him on policy. And today, we're still seeing the same thing. We have a bunch of people who are disagreeing with him on policy, and he's labeling them in a divisive way And again, now people are starting to not fall for this stuff. And in fact, people are starting to look back historically and go, hey, I thought this about a bunch of truckers that went to Ottawa, and now I'm being labeled as that. I'm not that. Maybe they weren't that either. But let's get into this. It's unfortunate that once again, Trudeau, who has often denounced partisanship while urging conciliation, uses inflammatory rhetoric which alienates a large portion of Canadians. Trudeau's divisive language comes in the wake of the government of New Brunswick Premier Blaine Higgins making controversial changes to gender rules in the provincial schools. I don't know why this is controversial. It should not be. It doesn't seem controversial. What is the major change? The one major change is that parental consent would be required for trans or non-binary students under the age of 16 to change their names or pronouns in school. They'll have to have parental consent in order to do that. You got to okay it with the parents, to which a lot of people are freaking out that they don't want to tell the parents about these things. And that is of grave concern to a lot of parents, that teachers would hide this kind of information about students to their parents. And well, it's a big problem, and it's been raising a lot of trouble, and it's actually reached out to not just Christian families, not just secular families, but also the Muslim community, and it's causing a serious backlash. This is also from the National Post here. Rupa Subramanya writes this article: the progressive left discards Muslims as un-Canadian. Wow. Okay, so we've gone full bore, full steam ahead onto the other side. Now they're no longer Canadians. Support for minorities from the left is contingent on buying into extremist position on gender transitioning for children. And I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can read the article in its entirety. Great point. And she raises this point also on Twitter. Fascinating as always, when the very thin liberal veneer flakes off and the progressive virtue signaling left to reveal their true colors, that they are as intolerant and xenophobic as anyone out there. Here's a case in point. Someone who's replying to this thread of the Muslim parents standing up for their children, saying it's creating this weird cognitive dissonance for me. I fought for years for my Muslim students against Islamophobia. To see Muslim parents do this to the LGBTQ plus ? I'm wondering if perhaps there needs to be a new screening for immigrants. They will respect, will they respect Canada's human rights code? Well, I have to break it to you, but not all Muslims are immigrants. There are lots of Canadians that are Muslims. I believe I misquoted it by saying it's 10% of the population. I looked it up. It was closer to 4.5% of the population. But this is a large number of Canadians that have Muslim beliefs, and you can't just dismiss that as immigrants that have just come in to the country. Now, this has become an issue because you see this kind of phobia, I guess you could use their terms, in the school system. And this is a teacher that was scolding, caught on audio, scolding a student for not celebrating Pride, who was happens to be a Muslim student.
Well, I'll tell you, you were out to lunch. If you think it's acceptable to not show up because you think if there's some Pride activities going on at school, right? Oh, that's fine. You know, because I'm going to show my opinion by hanging out at the mall. But meanwhile, all of those kids who are, you know, involved in, say, the Gay Street Alliance or whatever, I don't even know if we have that anymore in our school, they're here when we did Ramadan for Lion Time, and they're showing respect in the class for your religion, right, for your beliefs. It goes two ways. If you want to be respected for who you are, if you don't want to suffer prejudice for your religion, your color of skin, your whatever, then you better give it back to people who are different from you. That's how it works. It's an exchange. And it isn't like that in all countries. As I told you, in Uganda, literally, if they think you're gay, they will execute you. If you believe that kind of thing, then you don't belong here. Because that is not what Canada believes. We believe in freedom. We believe that people can marry whomever they want. That is in the law. And if you don't think that should be the law, you can't be Canadian.
Unbelievable. So this is obviously a tirade given out by the teacher to a Muslim student. Now, City News is reporting on this, and an Edmonton school board is taking action after audio of a teacher berating a Muslim student for skipping Pride Month events was shared online. Again, links in the description down below. You can check this out. But there's more. Here's another National Post article saying Muslim vote could swing back to conservatives in wake of woke outrage. Teachers' verbal attack on Muslim students over Pride Month exemplifies growing rift between faith community and progressives. Now, the article goes on to talk about how in previous years there was an attack. There was an attack that happened in Ottawa, and this led to an alienation between the Muslim community and the conservatives under Stephen Harper. And there was all kinds of fervor at the time, just over 8 years ago, trying to get Trudeau elected, and the rhetoric that went around because of that. Now, the article then goes on to say, but the Conservative Party may finally be at the precipice of a long-desired rapprochement with the Muslim Canadians, as conservatives and some Muslim groups find themselves as unlikely allies against the so-called woke agenda being pushed by the progressive left. I don't know why this is unlikely allies. I know that many Muslims are quite conservative in thought and in thinking. So I think it's not unlikely. I think it's more of a likely thing. It was actually quite unlikely that they would be in such close ties with progressiveness and all this other stuff. But hey, that's my opinion. You can take yours into the comment section down below. This dynamic is playing out most clearly in the intensifying backlash against increasingly over-the-top in-class activities marking the Pride Month and other dates dedicated to LGBTQ plus inclusion at public schools across the country. Just last week, the leaked audio recording, and they go into the clip that I just shared with you. But this is going on across society, and it's incredible how it's spreading so quickly, to the point where it's even hitting the corporate world. We see like some of the corporate world is going full steam ahead, but some of these franchisees are not keen on this. Starbucks middle managers are banning pride decorations in defiance of pro-LGBTQ policy. So the people are losing their shirts over this, and so you're seeing what you're seeing is franchisees, or people who own the franchises, not the corporation, that are saying, let's get rid of this stuff. We're losing customers over this. But of course, the union is speaking out about this. This is the Starbucks Workers United. Their slogan, I guess, for Pride Month, I don't know if this is their whole slogan, but is be gay and organize. Well, they're organizing, and they're freaking out about this particular decision by some of these franchisees across the North American, across North America. Starbucks workers claim that coffee giants suddenly banned pride decorations in stores, reads the Post Millennial. And again, links as always in the description down below. But yeah, breaking in the middle of Pride Month. In the middle of Pride Month, Starbucks bans pride decorations in stores across the United States. This may be happening in Canada as well, but this seems to be the culture that's taking place, and this seems to be the new counterculture. This is the new rock and roll. Ditch the rainbow. People don't want to be controlled. They don't want to be told what to do. You can live your life the way you want. Nobody's saying don't do that. They're just saying don't impose it on the rest of everybody else. And that takes us back to the old Footloose analogy. But hey, I want to leave this one up to you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Where do you stand on this? Are you for? Are you against? Is this something where you just, hey, a bit like me, live your life, do it the way you want, just don't impose yourself on everybody else, and we'll all be better off for it. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.